How's it go? It's like nothing matters. Nothing matters. Something, and we're never gonna die.
Yeah, hell yeah.
The Pretty Good Telemark Show. Laughs and stories steal the show. Join the ride, let's have some fun. Skiing adventures for everyone. The Pretty Good Telemark Show. Laughs and stories steal the show. Join the ride, let's have some fun. Skiing adventures for everyone. From tips to tales, they've got the scoop. Tune in now, come join the troop. The Pretty Good Telemark Show. Skiing vibes and a lively flow. With Mr. Adam.
Oh God.
Dude, new and improved.
I love just like watching you while we're, quote unquote preparing for the show, and you're getting so psyched on this graphic. And wow, what an excellent showing of just technical prowess.
People pay a lot of money for that. People pay a lot of money for that.
You're welcome, Bishop.
Could you imagine if Jurassic Park had that technology when they made the first one?
Oh my God, the T-Rexes would have looked so much better.
That's what I'm saying.
Scene where they reach into the big old pile of poop to like figure out what they've been eating would look so much better.
I was going for like, the Zoolander scene where he's like, happy. I
don't remember that. Why do I not remember that? I'm so disappointed in myself. I'm sorry, everybody. That devastates me.
Will Ferrell's face, and he's like spinning across this. It's subliminal, dude. You guys didn't even know.
Oh yeah, that's it's like the drug scene, right? When they all finally like party together. Okay, I'm back at you.
Yeah, it's subliminal advertising. Everyone's gonna go buy Bishop skis, and we love Bishop because they support this show. But I don't know. Let's talk about what we messed up last time. Let's get right into that. I'm gonna let you have it. I'm gonna let you have the floor here.
Yeah, I guess we're going into it. So we were talking about the Scarpa boots last time, and your experience was that you end up having to get a much bigger boot, right?
Yeah. So I guess I got to clarify. So I don't, I want people to buy this boot and I want it to fit, but I have always skied in a size down Telemark boot. So traditionally in an alpine boot, I would be in a 27.5, and a Telemark boot from Scarpa, I would go 26.5. With this boot, the new boot, I am now back into a 27.5. So it doesn't fit big. It fits true to size, but the old sizing was wrong. So I'm just trying to lay that out there for everybody. And like, I know boot sole lengths and Mondo sizing are not the same thing, but there's a direct correlation. And the old 26.5 TX Pro is a 307 boot sole length.
Right.
The new TX Pro in a 27.5 is 307. So a 26.5 in a TX Pro current is 299, and my foot does not fit in that boot. I know people are like, it's the shell size, not the. I get it. My experience doesn't fit, and that's where I'm at. But I guess the long of it is go to your local retailer. I mean, what are your experiences with it?
What you just said made it so much more confusing. I'm fairly certain.
Dang it.
Yeah, that was even worse. So yeah, I've been seeing since we did the original pod that people were kind of chiming in on what their experience has been so far. And I've seen people that have said it's been purely true to size. I actually saw somebody at a shop in Denver that slipped it on their normal size for the TX Pro, put on the new ones, and was snug as a bug in the rug. Talked to people that actually said they had to size down on it, which based on both of our experiences, I have no idea how that scenario could work unless you were just skiing way too big of a shoe or a boot originally. And then, us, where I literally could not get my foot in that 27 for the life of me. So I had to up to a 28 to even get the foot in and be able to ski it. So yeah, like you saying, like long and short of it is go to a shop, put it on your foot, try it out. The internet sizing thing seems like a risk to me personally, unless you've tried it on. So go to that shop, touch the plastic, support a shop that's supporting TELE.
Yeah, and if you're thinking about getting a new boot, they're like selling out in
Yeah.
North America. I just want to pull up Rise of Telly because Serge has done an excellent job answering all your questions with the Scarpa TX Pro. The guy's very passionate about it, and
Oh,
he
yeah.
hates when I'm just throwing things out there that are out my ass. So check out Rise of Telly. You can call him. He will walk you through the process, what he likes, how he thinks it fits, blah, 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 blah. But I cannot stress going to your local shop more. And again, they are literally this. Yeah, we didn't have this news last time. They are any shop that ordered boots will get the boots that they pre-ordered, but they will not be able to reorder. So like, I don't know how else to explain that. Like, if you want the boot, go get it. The City Garage in Ellicottville, the shop that I work at, we're sold out of 27s. We're sold out of 28s. We want to get more from Scarpa. We cannot. They misjudged. That's okay. Whatever. It's a good thing that we have some want for the first time in a long time. But go to your shop, find it, buy it, support it. And they're not, if you wait, they probably won't be available till next year.
And other shops that put in later orders, right? They were potentially not going to get those fulfilled. So even some of the shops that were saying, yeah, we're going to get into like our second shipment or something like that. Is it true that that's not happening depending on the date that they ordered it, or?
It depends on the date. But from what I gather, anyone that put in an order is going to get their initial order.
Okay.
Yeah. And but anyone who put in like a reorder, which like we already tried to, which is a good thing, right? But they just, from what I gather, there wasn't a lot of pre-orders from shops, so Scarpa didn't make that many boots.
Oh, yeah.
And now that they've trickled in, blah 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 blah, people want the boot.
Yeah.
So they were basing it off purely pre-orders, and they just didn't get a lot because people in June don't necessarily think about skiing, right? Like,
right. I guess it's a new product. I feel like if you're a shop already carrying Telly, that's a very obvious one to start carrying. But yeah, I don't know what the shops do with that. I did that in like skateboarding and stuff like that, but we're always in a skateboard season, right? So you're kind of always hyped trying to get the new stuff, but it is a bit off sync, right? For the ski shops.
Yeah, it's just, and again, I don't work at Scarpa. I don't know. I just know what I've been, we are a dealer. I've gotten emails from Scarpa. I know what they've told us, and I can speculate the rest. But
right. If you want the boot, go get it right now, because it isn't like the days of yore. You're not going to wait till April, and now they're all on sale and you can get that better deal because they're likely going to be gone unless you got like a size 31 or something like that.
Oh, and also everyone on the forum who probably doesn't listen to this because we talk about new stuff. There's no pro deal on this boot. It's not, they're not going to give you a pro deal. It's the newest thing that's happened in telemark in a long time, and there's no pro deal. So it sucks. I'm not like, I know I'm out here just telling everybody to like spend a ton of money, but if you want it, get it. Ski boot will last. How long did your last ski boot last you? Let's say 10 years.
Most of you guys, they'll go forever.
So like, it's $80 a year. It sucks, but if you want it, buy it, pay retail, and maybe we might even see a new boot because like we're buying the new boot that they put out.
Yeah, I mean, it's killer to think that you actually have to rush to buy a telemark product right now because it might not be available in a couple of months. I think that's something I'm not too used to, at least in my kind of age of Telly. So hype is high, inventory was low, and that, supply and demand, baby.
It's amazing. I don't know. I'm back. I'm back into it, and I'm saying
you're stuck in the system now. Here we are.
I'm in, and it's cool to have something to talk about. It's cool to have something new, and just like, not everyone's going to love it. And I think they're going to cure that eventually. But until they do, like, this is what we have. So,
yeah. Oh, I guess another update with that is 22 Designs announced that they have actually updated I can't remember if we talked about this, but updated the flex plate on the links so that it actually works better with the new Scarpa boot, because they were having issues with that plate hooking on that duck butt. So for all of you that's running, an older Lynx or something like that, check it out from 22 Designs, hit them up, and they've got it adjusted for you. So it's going to work proper with the new boot.
Do you know the rollout of that? Like if you had a boot, do you have to buy the plate? Do you get the plate?
I honestly don't know. It was either a quick email they put out. So if you're on the email newsletter, you probably heard about it, but I think it was like a smaller purchase just to get those new flex plates and get them in. I don't think it's just a free upgrade.
Yeah,
but I could be wrong. Someone can find out that I'm super duper wrong on that one. But it is available at least. So if you're having issues, you got that new TX Pro, but the older Lynxes, hit them up. They'll fix that up for you. And the newer Lynxes, like if you buy them this year, they do have that updated flex plate too. So they're dialing that all in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying not to get started on like, oh, we have a new boot and it's not compatible with the bindings that have been out for 20 years. But,
that's a part of it. You like you get it to the masses and all of a sudden there's something else that's not working, I feel. But at least this is like a fairly minor thing that could be adjusted with, a new flex plate geometry versus something much more catastrophic, like it doesn't have a duck butt or something like that.
Right. I think, thank God we got somewhere on it. But I think we talk about the elephant in the room here, folks.
Yep.
I will talk about it. Hang on, I gotta write CJ a message here. Top secret private chat. The elephant in the room, Josh Madsen is back? Question mark. He has commented or made an Instagram post. I had to get it sent to me because I am blocked. I know a lot of my friends are blocked. So it'll be interesting as to what his plan is. We know he closed his shop. Will he continue his podcast? Will he continue to, he was the voice of Telemark for, I don't know, the last 20 years. So it'll be interesting. I don't have a take on it. Like, I have my personal takes. I don't really know Joshy intimately. Clearly, I mean, we all know what happened last year.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would have handled it. I'm not defending him. I'm not against him. I will say that he is a human being. And I could easily burn every bridge in 10 seconds by saying something stupid on this mic tomorrow. So like, I'm just saying grain of salt, people. Like, he is a human. Let's see what happens. Let's see if he unblocks people. Let's see. I know a lot of people have opinions on this, and I'm like treading lightly. There seems to be, I don't know. There's giant fans of Joshy, and there's people who are very anti-Josh. And again, CJ and I are like, we talked about this before. We're tiptoeing, and I'm over speaking because it's a human, and that's like, we're telemark skiing. So if some people have their fearless leader back and he's helping, stoke the fire, I think that's all good.
Yeah. I mean, I think the worst thing people can do is just sit there and kind of internet speculate and become more Facebook forum heroes with everything, same thing. I had to have somebody else tell me, because he has blocked a lot of the industry. 22 Designs Bishop. I mean, none of them are seeing his feed. So I'm kind of curious how many people have seen that he's popped back up. But, I think you agree with me, and we're together in this, that we hope that, with kind of that crazy quick disappearance, we just hope that everything's actually okay, and that he's doing well. This is such a big part of his life, and, to see it kind of just disappear all of a sudden, especially seeing the shop being empty and everything else, is, I'm sure, not a fun situation right now, nor was it then. So I think we sit and we kind of see what he does. I know the shop, the website seems to have some stuff on there, like some parts and everything like that. So I guess we'll be tracking it all this season and see what happens, see kind of how he returns back to the scene for everybody too, how he's welcomed. I know, seeing on the forum and stuff like that, there's been kind of mixed responses, generally a lot of stoke though. So I think that's all I have to say.
Yeah. Again, we could ramble about it, but we don't know. It's all speculation. And I just want to make that very clear for everyone who has, their opinions. Like, it's a human being. And I think he knows he said some shit maybe he shouldn't have said, but like, so did everyone else. So let's just like, whatever. It's a small enough community. We don't need to bully anybody. No. And let's just move on and make it all let's make it all a beautiful little happy place, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. The more the merrier too. It's like, I understand that some people won't dig what I'm doing, what you're doing, what we're doing, anybody else. The flavor and culture is by having more for people to kind of either vibe with or not vibe with. So hopefully it all comes back and it works out, but time will tell.
Yeah. And Josh, if you hear this, if someone sends you this, you're welcome to come on, dude. Tell your story. Don't tell your story. You're here. That you have to grow the community. That's all it is. And that's all we're trying to do. I think that's all Josh was trying to do. And we'll see what happens. So I don't know. I think we'll leave it at that because the rest is just speculation on where we're at. You have an open invite. I believe you have CJ's number. You're welcome to come on. You can slide to my DMs and we'll get you on the pod.
I think with that speculation too, I was asked about a week ago what the purpose of this show was, which I've always been asked that about TC. And I've been doing this since 2018 and still do not have much of a dialed answer for that. But I thought it was pretty curious for someone to ask, what was our goal with this pod, which I think we do talk about in the first episode, but like, is this supposed to be kind of more of a historical review or what? So before I say what I think my answer is, kind of curious to hear what you think this podcast is. Episode 2.
Yeah. So, I've been doing a weekly podcast for almost 4 years. And my goal was always to have, my Michael Jordans, but also have my quote unquote no-namers. And, I had CJ on, speaking of no-namers. No, I had CJ on and I saw this community that like had so much, like CJ's episodes always did really well. And the feedback was very intimate and it was very passionate and they cared. And then I realized like, oh, no one's everyone's talking about it, but no one's talking about it. So I just found a way to, I teamed up with CJ to he gives me some credibility. I give him some credibility. I am a telemark skier. I make that very clear. I also alpine. But for me, it was just like people wanted something and the new school, and we're going to get into the divide later in the pod here, but the new school telemark, these guys who are strictly NTN, they never 75'd. They're young. They're hitting rails. They're driving big skis. They had nowhere to just go. So I think that's what the Pretty Good Telemark Show is to me, is a platform. We have that open voicemail line that you can leave a voicemail anytime and it goes straight to voicemail. You can air your grievances. You can say whatever you want. You can pitch to like, come on the show. I don't care. Yeah. Like the point of this for me is to just give people a space to, have this community that exists, but isn't necessarily in your hometown. And doing it once a month for me keeps it fresh, keeps it not repeating, and it keeps it just so we can continue to do it and deliver a decent episode instead of just fluff, which happens a lot when we do something weekly.
Sure. Yeah. That was a aggressively elegant answer from you. I love that. And I do totally agree. And that's something, not to pat your back or anything, that I really loved about what you're doing with the Pursuit, is being able to bring on these no names, that are, or quote unquote no mains, lesser known people in the industry, whatever that industry is, and they can mix in with interviews from, Cody Townsend or something like that. So they're getting this equal space and this really cool platform to share, their little or mid-sized project that they're doing. So I think that's a cool opportunity here. Like Adam said, 716-599-0917, leave that voicemail, ask us anything. But to me, I don't think the purpose here is to establish any sort of historical archive or to be a hype beast for any particular piece of technology or anything else. I mean, to me, it feels like we've always done good just chatting on the phone and talking shit about telemark, and why not kind of bring it to the people and use that as a space for them too. It's just two friends sitting in their van in their living room and talking telly,
Yeah, I think, it's just, I felt there was a need for it. I pitched it to CJ while I was in the airport. He agreed, and I figured why not use my platform to help elevate you know, telemark as a whole. And it's funny, like I told you before, CJ, like I was out telemark. I sold all my
Yep.
stuff. I had no telemark skis left. And then talking to people like you and having Telecraw on and like just like I'm back in, right? Like I'm sucked back in. I can't get out. And
Yeah, you're fully stuck in this system now.
yeah, and I'm not a platinum. Like I am not pure. I am I alpine, I telemark, I snowboard, and I think that's what gives me this advantage is that like I see the other communities and I see what telemark has to offer.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. I've never been asked that question with anything. So it's fun to answer it kind of off the cuff and be, I don't know. I think there's a space for it. And I hope it grows. We plan on doing this, or at least I plan on doing this next year. We're only on episode 2. And maybe next year it's twice a month. Like it's
Right.
all, if we can continue to provide a quality product, like not that many things happen in telemark every week. So like to be like, here's a news section. And like, we don't
Right.
really have any news right now. Like we talked about the new boot, our news is that Josh is back, which is like in the community. That's big news. So like, but other than that, like not much has happened in the last month. So we'll see where it goes. I think it's really fun. And I'm just pumped that you said yes, because I don't think it would have the success without having you on board and Telly COLO like stamping their seal on the pursuit. So I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, just stoked to be a part of something to give me more anxiety. That's what I'm always seeking for in life.
It's fine. It's fine. Our homies here. We have a guest this week. I don't know if you can see that, CJ. Can you see it down there?
I can see it, but I was wondering, can he hear us talking right now?
I have no idea.
Oh yeah, he can.
Okay,
Shit.
I've been texting him. I'm like 2 minutes, and I was like, nope, not 2 minutes. It's gonna be a few minutes.
Just got the thumbs up from him.
I don't know how to say your name, so I'm just gonna bring you on. You can introduce yourself. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
What's up? How's it going? Can you guys hear and see me? That's all working?
Looking good.
Okay. Cool. Sweet. Yeah, I'm Nikhil Barnick. I am a student at the University of Vermont, and I'm the founder and president of the UVM Telemark Skiing Club. Let me think a little bit about me. I'm from Mass. I didn't really grow up skiing all the time. Really got into it later into my teens. I have not ever alpined. My dad
Platinum
tellied for as long.
Platinum, dude.
We need a soundbite for that, or like a noise thing. You probably got something.
Ooh, that's too loud. That's too loud. That's our platinum.
Perfect. But yeah, I grew up Nordic skiing, and my dad always tellied, and I never really wanted to lock the heel down. So this year will be my 11th season on tellies, and this year is going to be the second year the Telly Club here at UVM is running. And yeah, it's been incredible, like what we've been able to accomplish in the last year. What we've been able to do here and at UVM, and just we can see our impact, like even in the community itself. I don't know. I'm here talking to you guys. That's crazy. And like 12 months ago, the UVM Telly Club was just like a thought,
Yeah, I'd love to hear kind of what inspired you to start that, because I'm sure you can explain, and you've experienced that starting something like a club, working with universities and stuff like that is not easy. It's not something that you just submit a proposal and boom, you're all good and you have funding or whatever. So what kind of motivated you and inspired you to start the project and really put in the work that I know you're doing to keep this thing going, and what are your goals with it?
Yeah. So last year, skiing is huge at UVM. I know it's the East Coast, and the East Coast sucks, and there's ice and whatever else, but the ski community is absolutely insane here. Yes, thanks for putting that up. I was told specifically by my guy Jordan to shout out the Instagram account.
Adam, you got to follow him. You're not even following him.
Don't worry about it. Everything is earned.
It's part of his plan to take down the industry.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Thanks.
You got to follow.
But yeah, the ski community is huge here. And I saw a big enough group of people interested in TELE and people who would TELE to start the club. And like I mentioned, it's been a huge part of my life. My dad TELEs. Both I have two younger brothers. They TELE. It's a family affair.
Yeah.
And I was kind of looking for that same family here at UVM, and it didn't exist. So I started the club. Another pretty obvious thing about skiing in terms of accessibility is like it's freaking expensive, you know. And telemark skiing is not something that you can feasibly expect college kids to invest in and try out. So our big thing that we started out with was having a free to use demo fleet. And then every Friday we go to a local nonprofit ski area called Cochrane's. It's a little T-bar. The lift tickets are $5, and we bring students, we bring our demo fleet, and we teach them to TELE. Zero TELE experience necessary, zero skiing experience necessary. Yeah, it's just about getting people out on snow and getting people stoked on TELE skiing. And lately we've been kind of expanding beyond, want to do the teaching thing, but also like we're trying to grow our Instagram presence, make some Insta bangers is what we're calling them.
Hell yeah.
Maybe get in the park a little bit this year and really try to show people that like TELE isn't always a 45, 50-year-old dad sport,
Right.
It's
Be quiet with that one.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'm
Not
40.
all of us have G3 targets,
Yeah. So I have a question, and this is I think I mentioned to you when we chatted, but why do you think telemark specifically has so many people who start clubs who want to own their own demo fleets and teach people how to do said sport? Like if I'm a mountain biker and I have a mountain bike club, I don't own a mountain bike fleet and be like, come Tuesday and I'll teach you how to ride a mountain bike. I'm just like, hey, I have a mountain bike. You have a mountain bike. This is a community. Come ride. Telemark seems very different in that capacity. Do you agree, disagree? And if either or, why?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it stems from the fact that you can count on one hand the amount of companies that you can buy boots and bindings from, right? And you can't do that with alpine skiing. And I think there's a sense that like, Latin's a dead language, and I'm sure there's some sap out there that wishes they could speak Latin and it wouldn't be a dead language. And I think we're those saps, except it's not dead yet. And I think that's the point. And it's like for a lot of us in the club, a lot of the officers, like we learned to TELE ski from our families, from my dad, from whoever's mom, whoever's dad. And it's like this generational thing. It's like we don't want to let go of. It doesn't mean it has to be the same as it once was. It's different. It can be new, it can be old. It's still TELE skiing.
Right.
But I think it's the idea that like we love to do this sport. We love the turn. It's the best way to ski. So why don't we keep growing it? And at UVM, we figured out a system where we can, like this year, we just bought a fleet of 20 brand new skis and brand new bindings. Yep, there we go. And brand new boots. And like we're in a position where we can teach people to love this sport as much as we love it. And so why wouldn't we?
Right. And, I think too, that's one of the cool things about these groups and, why Adam has done what he's done, why I've done what I've done is we are so passionate about this, right? That we want to spread it and kind of expose it to more. But it's also, for me, the thought always was too, that if you get more people into it, you get more people supporting the industry. And then all of a sudden you get these new boots or bigger teams or something like that. So do you feel like it's almost inherently selfish in a way too? It's like we're putting this together to spread, but also to build stuff so we can get a return on it, right?
Yeah, I like a little bit, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
It's like I wanna keep tele skiing for as long as I can.
Yeah.
And if Scarpa doesn't keep making boots, then I can't keep buying boots,
Yep.
you know. And there's certainly an aspect of that. And there's absolutely like I think for whatever reason or another, there's more emotional tie to the sport. Maybe because it's more of a tight knit community. You know, people always talk about if you're at a mountain and you see another tele skier in line, like you're gonna go and be buddies with them or whatever.
Yep.
I think it's just there's something about the emotional bond to it. You know, like I want to see Orion down in Middlebury go and like win some IFSA 3 stars, like you know, and I want to see him stomp fronties. And not even just because I know the kid, just because like it's freaking awesome. It's like I don't know. There's something about the community that's like just tight, and that's all it is. I don't know. I think at UVM we want to show people that it's not just the, you know, it's bled into the younger generation too.
For sure. Yeah. No, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I mean, TJ and I have a whole plan to go into like this divide with the old school and new school. And, you know, you guys are definitely the new school and starting to lead the charge. And I think that's what's going to help drive telemark in general is like, you know, we have a lot of these old school guys and I'm not shitting on them. Like there's old school car clubs. There's like, that's what it is. Right. But
Yeah.
like the old school car drivers don't like, they still drive their Tesla to work. Right. Like they've evolved. And I think with telemark, it's changed. Like these guys haven't evolved. And then they're mad at the new school for evolving. And like, I don't know. There's a lot of people who just learn to telemark on NTN. That's all they know. Like I learned to drive on a, you know, 95 Civic because that was like my era and the car that I bought. Right. Like you're such a product of your environment. But do you guys get kickback from the old school or do they not even know you're there?
I don't really see it honestly because I mean, like, look, I've got a pair of TX Pros right there and a pair of Lynxes and like I ski in 10, but our demo fleet is 75 mil. You know, we've got 20 pairs of T2s and then we've got however many pairs of shitter 75 mil boots that we got for free on Facebook Marketplace. You know, and our new skis are volets with switchbacks, but we've got plenty of K2s with G3s on them, and that's what we were teaching people on last year.
Yeah.
You know, and now we're still going to teach people on 75 mil. Maybe one day we'll see some NTN setups in our fleet, but I don't think, you know, I think it all starts somewhere. And you know, we're working on that definitely as a club's trying to bridge that divide, you know. But I haven't seen much kickback, you know. I think generally people are just stoked about what we've got going on here regardless.
I've seen that you've done some what seemingly looks like some really big events over at UVM already this season, probably some ski hype events or whatever. And tell me if I'm wrong, so I'm probably wrong, but it seemed like this was all part of a bigger collection of ski clubs. So there was other university ski clubs around. I'm kind of curious how, you know, how you're interacting with them, how they're seeing the Telemark Club. It seemed like you're working to kind of expand into those bigger audiences to get them to come to the Telemark side a little bit, or at least explore it. So just curious kind of what I guess the reception has been from non-tele skiers to you being at these university events.
Yeah, honestly, it's been strictly stoke. So yeah, at UVM there is a huge ski culture, and so with that there are, I mean, really two other skiing specific clubs. There's other snowboard clubs and there's an alpine race team and all that. But there's the ski and snowboard club here at UVM, which has 6,000 members. They're huge. And then there's
Whoa.
also Chicks on Sticks at UVM, which is female and non-binary focused ski club. And we've been working with them because, well, first of all, they're stoked about what we've got going on. But also, I think each club kind of brings different things to the table. Ski and snowboard club is huge, and it's awesome that they're so big. But with that scale, you can't have the kind of teaching days that we can have at Cochrane's, which is the ski area we go to. So they provide a lot of, they do discounted tickets for members. They do buses to mountains every weekend, but because of their scale, they are limited in the fact that they can't teach as much, and they kind of can't focus on the accessibility to skiing as much as we can, and that's where we come in.
Gotcha.
And so we've worked with them. They have a general meeting at the beginning of every year, so we did a competition. We had people do, spin around in circles and then put on some 75 mil gear as fast as they could. and it was funny. It was really funny. And the winner got a free setup, a full free TELE setup, which was awesome.
That's so cool.
Actually, huge shout out to CJ and good call, Greg, because they did provide a bunch of the giveaway gear for that. And yeah, like, SSC Ski and Snowboard's having a rail jam here on campus this Friday. Actually, our vice president, Josie Baker, is going to be in the rail jam on Telly's.
Sick.
Yeah, out of 9 of us, only 1 of us can hit a rail, so we're working on it.
Good luck, Josie.
Josie will be there. Yep.
You can all hit a rail, I promise.
and then the ground after, yeah.
Yes. Getting there is easy.
Getting off of there is the hard part.
Yeah. But yeah, the ski community here is just full of stoke. There's no
Awesome.
Everybody's just loving to see everybody else getting out on snow.
What do you see the future of? Like, I don't know what year you are, but eventually you're going to age out. You're going to go and have a real job and a career. So do you pass this on? What does this future of this look like? And then part 2 of that is, how do we, the listener, the consumer, how do we support things like this?
Yeah. Well, hopefully I'll graduate one day. And so I'm a sophomore now. And so in 2 years, hypothetically speaking, I'll be gone. And what I see it as is, the club will keep going. There will be, some new president. There'll be a new e-board. And we'll keep teaching people how to TELE, and we'll keep going to mountains on powder days and making Instagram edits. And, we'll keep doing whirly birds and falling on our faces, and, keep making movies and videos and stuff. And yeah, just keep sharing the stoke. In terms of how people, people in the industry can help, really, I think it comes down to, social media, like, interacting with us on Instagram, growing, seeing what we have to show. And it also comes down to events, like CJ's touring right now. And I know a couple other clubs around the country are helping out with his premieres. We're going to be at the J Skis one here in Burlington in December. And it's just, going to those things, buying merch, showing up, things like that. We will have a merch run soon, so keep an eye out for that.
Sick.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And also, like, if you're on the East Coast, if you're from Vermont, like, reach out and we'll ski with you. We don't care if you're a UVM student or not. Come to Cochrane's. It's like, that's part of the appeal. Like, yeah, we're teaching students how to ski, but the telemark ski community is bigger than just UVM.
And what time and where can they find you? I know it's at Cochrane's, but let's just lock it in. And it's every week.
It's going to be every Friday from January 17th will be the first one until, Cooper, help me, March 8th. I don't know.
Starts January 17th.
Something like that. That was Cooper's fault, not mine.
Acting like a true president there.
And yeah, we'll be there from like 6 to, I don't know. Cooper says 4 to 8, something like that. Yeah, but we'll be there. And if you don't know, just shoot us a DM on Instagram, or I don't know. I'm not going to give my phone number out to the world, but how's this? If you don't know, you can call the phone number at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah,
and leave Adam a voicemail.
Yeah, we'll get a hold of you. I promise. Look at that. Look how fast
that number.
Yeah.
716-599-0917. Fridays at Cochrane's. It's $12, and demos are free. Lift tickets are $5, but tip
Get
your
educated.
instructor, get educated. But it's open to everyone, is what I'm saying. Like, actually, you don't have to be a student. You could be hypothetically a 60-year-old male who's never done it, and you want to go, and you guys are open, welcome, come learn to ski, telemark ski specifically.
Yeah.
Cool.
We just want to
CJ, questions
spread
for
the
him?
stoke.
I do actually, and I don't want to blow up anything that maybe shouldn't be public yet, but my understanding is you guys are going to be having a partnership this year, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you
Yes,
want to,
indeed.
can we talk about that? Kind of what your goal is, how you managed to get that together? Because I think it's cool for other people to understand the other things you're trying to do and how you're working with these companies and what you're trying to produce in kind of this telemark space as well.
Totally. Yeah. So essentially we're working with Bishop this year. We're not sure exactly to what capacity, but it will look like some kind of filming. We're not sure entirely what yet. Yeah, and honestly, Cooper can redeem himself. That was all Cooper. So big hand to Cooper. But yeah, we're not sure exactly what it's going to look like, but we're working with Bishop this year to do some filming, spread the stoke about TELE, especially spread the stoke about, this next gen of TELE on the East Coast. And again, it's
Killer.
like, it's a dad sport, but is it really anymore? So yeah, that's basically what's going on. I don't want to speak too much on it because we don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but by next year, there will be some filming happening.
I mean,
all film will be out there.
You're speaking to someone that was literally exporting the full-length film on the drive to the Denver premiere. So I totally understand what it looks like to not know what it's going to look like. So no, I think it's really cool. I think it's a great idea. It's a great way for you all to have the experience working with the company in that sort of format and everything else. And yeah, I love what you guys are doing. I think it's incredibly positive. I know I'm stoked to hang out and see all of you guys when we do the December 6th premiere over in Burlington.
Yeah, thanks. We're stoked too. Yeah, thank you.
No, if all goes poorly, I will be there. If all goes wrong, I will be at that premiere December 6th at J Skis, right?
Yep.
Beautiful. Well, dude, thank you for your time. Thanks for making it happen.
Thank you guys.
What do we follow? What is your at? Follow
my at or the club's at?
Wow, that's up to you and your email.
Oh man, I'll give
Depends
you.
on what you're trying to get out of this.
It's gonna be at UVM Telemark Ski Club.
Dope.
All right.
Everyone go follow UVM Telemark Ski Club. Check out Cochrane's throughout the year. Learn to telemark. No excuses if you're on the East Coast because these guys are setting it up so that you can learn for free. So it doesn't get any easier than that. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for making it happen. Thanks for being our first guest on the show.
Yeah.
And going through some technical difficulties. And we didn't really have any. I think we
nailed this so far. Yeah. It's killer.
All right, dude. Thanks, man.
Sweet.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Guys.
See ya later. I am impressed that we pulled that off.
I'm very proud of us. Look at us, guys. We did it. And that's a pretty cool thing. Like I do mean that telemark is so bizarre in like the thing of like, there's a lot of things that I do that I could give a shit if anyone else does it.
Right.
And telemark is, and I don't care if anyone telemarks, but telemark is a sport that like, if you're a telemark skier, you like want everyone else to do it. It's like a good movie. Like you got to see it. You got to do it. You got to do it. And we're seeing that in these clubs that are popping up. And if you have a club, please feel free to reach out because this is what we want to do. We want to promote telemark and the community and make it happen. CJ, thanks for setting that up.
No, I mean, what he's doing is really cool. And I had the opportunity to meet him last year, actually at the Burlington premiere, and was able to give him the mic and have him say a few words, which he speaks very elegantly, which is always good too, to have someone running a club that can actually speak to some other human being so we can get the transfer of knowledge. But no, it's really cool. I know it's a lot of hard work they're putting into it. And it is wild to see, this huge range of age groups from, like someone in their older years to someone that's fresh in college that are all still motivated to either, get demos or throw events or whatever. It's such a killer community that everyone just all of a sudden has this desire to spread it and kind of get people into it in an easier way, in a more accessible way. And it's, yeah. If you're doing that and we don't know you or know you, yeah, give us a call. We'd love to hear about your project going on, because I think it's so huge for Telly.
Yeah, it's a bizarre thing, and I'll never understand it and why you guys are like this, but I'm happy for it. I'm happy that it exists, and I'm stoked to meet everybody. And if you're an East Coaster, December 6th, we will be at J Skis. Yeah, I have nothing to do with that movie. I'm just going to be there being a bumbling idiot, which will be great.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I'll sign your stuff. I know you guys really like when I sign stuff for you.
I mean, Crawford was signing most of the stuff at the Denver premiere, so it's important to have our Telly goon out there just putting those signatures and bringing down the value of anything they're they're putting their paws on.
I'll answer your questions with my opinions, which are usually wrong, but no, I'm super pumped to be there. It's gonna be really fun. And I think there's a premiere in the Adirondacks the following day, which I will not be at, but that is happening for anyone on the East Coast. So if you can't make the Adirondack, or if you can't make Burlington, there will be one over near in Lake Placid area. I think Whiteface is where it's going to be. So that's sick. And CJ is getting around. He's horning it up out there with
Hell yeah, horn it for Telly.
Speaking of whoring it up, let's give a shout out to our sponsor over here at Bishop, or at the Pretty Good Telemark podcast. This takes time, this takes effort, and it makes it easier with a little support. Our friends over at Bishop Telemark, we're stoked to be involved, and we're stoked to have them involved. CJ, you've been on the Powder Hound. I skied ice all last year. Tell me a little bit about this Powder Hound, Doc.
Yeah, so I was actually lucky enough to test out the Powder Hound with Dave Bombard, the owner, when they were first prototyping it. So got to experience kind of the differences and the stiffnesses they were playing with. But what I consider this ski to be, and especially that ski that you're showing, the TC limited edition Powder Hound, which I believe we only have a 176 left at this point.
That's what it shows.
Yeah.
Says two left. Says two left.
Two left. Oh, snaps. All right, we got another one on there. There's two left for you. Anyways, I consider the Powder Hound to be pretty much the most progressive ski that they have offered so far. It's got and you can fact check me on this, I believe a 115 waist to it. So it's a wide boy. It's going to keep you floating. It's got a big old spoon. I believe on the 186, it's a 17-meter turn radius. So kind of the beautiful thing about this ski is that you can have an absolute shit ton of fun when you're in the powder. This thing keeps you floating. You never feel like you're getting that tip dive. But with that kind of more progressive shape, the early rise in the tail also, and then that side cut, it's still a hell of a lot of fun when you're going on your groomer and getting back to that lift chair, and you don't feel like you're riding on just a bunch of 2x4s that are just the worst thing to happen to your legs. I guess, and this is also a cool thing, is we can get into what makes it a telemark specific ski, because I think there's a lot of skis out there that are identified as being a telemark specific ski, but alpiners could ride it. I mean, whatever you mount on it, you could technically ride it. But what Dave has done over here is he's introduced the Telem Arc technology, whereas he's essentially noticed that us as telemark skiers aren't doing much with the alpine heel, right? Like alpine skiers would have. We just have our heel, and telemark is really just something to rest on. So we don't need all of that reinforcement. So he shortened up that reinforcement to essentially give you a more progressive flex through the ski and kind of decrease that dead spot, so you get more of a gradual arc going through it. Does it work? I have no idea, but the ski is so fun to ride. So he's doing something right in there.
Yeah, and I can't attest to the Powder Hound by any means, because I skied ice all year, but I do have the Gonzo, and it is such a fun ski. And it's snappy, it's quick. I smash rails on it. It's soft enough in the front that you can nose butter. I like a stiff tail because I usually get bucked and I'm back seat. It's got a nice stiff tail. It's really fun. And the whole thing about all of this is like, and I don't think we can drive this home enough, but if you buy something from Bishop, you're supporting telemark skiers through and through. They make bindings, they make skis, like that is the total package. So if you're debating on where to go and where to spend your money, if you're fortunate enough to have the money to make a crazy purchase like this, it's going directly into our sport again,
Right.
which is
It's
like
going
very
straight into
rare.
a telemark company. Yep. Which then in turn supports projects like this and everything else. So it's a flourishing system as long as you're throwing it to the right people. And I certainly consider Bishop to be the right people with the stuff that they're making over there.
Yeah, the dope thing is if you do buy a ski off their website, you can buy the binding right on there and they will literally email you and mount the whole thing for you. You can skip the ski shop, although I don't always love skipping the ski shop, but in this particular case, it works. And you can just get it delivered to your door and the bindings are ready to go, which is pretty rare concept these days. But shout out to the homies over at
Shout
Bishop.
out, Bishop.
My skis back here. It rained today, so I just put them on display in the back. But I have been skiing them. I have a full review. You can Google the review if you care. I tell you all about the Gonzo, why I like it, why I don't like it, and that was before they even knew who I was. So it's not there's no lies in that one. No, you weren't paying me off yet, right?
No.
No, I think it's really cool what they're doing, and man, if you haven't skied a Bishop binding, don't judge a book by its cover. That's all I can say, because it skis so damn good.
And you can tune it up so nicely. I've ran demos before where people come in, they say it's too stiff, and I fix it up for them. They say it's too soft. And if you're getting both of those extreme ranges, that means there's a sweet spot for you, depending on, regardless if you're coming from a G3 or, a free ride or something like that, you can really dial that thing in to be specific to your skiing style.
Yeah, and for any of you 75 millers out there, it is full stepping and it skis. If you're an NTN guy, it skis the closest to a 75 I've ever felt without like the weird like lateral loss of like a G3.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Does that make
No,
any
it does.
sense?
Yeah. It's you don't get that kind of horizontal slop or the lateral slop where you're kind of turning your heel and those cables allow some freedom to move set away from your ski. So this thing's, it keeps you completely locked in. And that's what people loved about the Bomber so much when it first came out.
Yeah, I'm terrified of that thing. I've never skied it. And just a little note, they do have blems on their website, and they probably have a little graphical error, and they'll save you a bunch of money.
Yep, get a good deal.
Head over to bishoptelemark.com. Check it out. If you buy something in the notes, please write that CJ and Adam sent you. The Pretty Good Telemark Show. They might charge you more, and
yeah,
we won't get any kickback from it. But it's always good to know. No, we'll talk about Bishop more through and through on this, but it's nice to have a brand that I genuinely believe in and I can talk about, and I have skied a bunch to be supporting this show. They took a risk, and we appreciate them for that.
Yeah. Thank you, Bishop.
Yeah. Thanks, Bishop. Okay. What do you want to talk about now?
I think we talk about maybe another elephant in the room. Talking to Nikhil, it's obvious that he sees a slight divide between kind of what's considered the old school to the new school. But kind of, I figure it'd be nice to talk about what that means, because I feel like this is the time of the year that we start to see these comments coming back up. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it. New school seems to be a trigger word for a lot of people. But I think new school can mean so many different things. So come on, Adam, light me up. What do you think new school is here?
Yeah, if we're talking about the forums, I think the new school is, NTN skis over 90, millimeters underfoot and hitting rails, doing nose butters, maybe being a little more aggressive, a little less of a ballet or a dance, which there's still some that do that, but the modern stuff, it's just more hard chargers. And I think, I don't know where the divide comes from. I think the old school is like mad that we don't care anymore about that, but it's not that we don't care that they paved the way. Great. But I always bring it back to a car, like the 1990 Dodge Caravan versus the 2025 Dodge Caravan are different things. There's TVs, there's automatic doors, there's an automatic hatch, you don't use a key anymore, you just have a fob in your pocket, there's Bluetooth. That's what we're going to continue to do and promote, and that's what's going to evolve the sport. Dodge isn't advertising or supporting their 1990 Dodge Caravan. It just doesn't exist. It's not what we need to do. So I don't know why they care so much. And maybe we'll get like a curmudgeon on here and we'll put him on like a, we'll give him a voice changer and we'll let him air his grievances. But like, we're not forgetting about you. We're just moving forward. That's what we need to do. And I truly believe, and I've said this to you before, that supporting all this old tech is crippling these young, small telemark brands. They are, they're, I don't know if we call them molds or jigs. They're probably jigs, right? But like, they're using all these old jigs and maintaining these old jigs and molds to create old stuff when they could be using that money to maintain new molds and create new product. And I know there's a revenue stream there, but I just think that at some point it needs to get cut, and maybe Scarpa will do that. Like Scarpa would be the one to just axe 75, right?
Right.
Like
they have the power to essentially get rid of it.
Right. I'm not saying that's the right choice, but like, I think if there's a brand that would do it, and I'm speaking for them, but it would be Scarpa. Like it's just weird. Why are we still making boots from whenever? And then why are the people, I don't know. I can't speak for 75 mil people. And I like 75. I'm not anti it. I guess I'm anti like arguing that NTN isn't telemark.
Right.
Like, no telemark, no. Like, no, it's telemark. It's what it is. Like, engines get bigger, NTNs make more power. Like, that's all it is. And
yeah. Telemark is a type of turn, right? It's not a feeling. We do get a feeling from it, but everyone's feelings are different. We can see that by the low smokers, the high skiers, if they want a stiffer binding or a softer binding. So I find it to be very, I don't know, you're thinking very isolated to say that NTN is not telemark, and that's a pretty crazy thing to say. Maybe it's a different feeling than what you enjoy, but based on what I'm seeing, it's still looking a hell of a lot like telemark to me, but with the added benefits of you can make some more secure alpine turns if you're needing to. Despite the fact that, I mean, people have been ripping in the park since well before I even knew what telemark was, right? And people have been doing tele presses and hitting big features, and there used to be the big mountain comps and everything else. So that's great. That can be accomplished with that technology, but why not, open our arms up to newer technology that these companies are trying to introduce? And it's going to come in baby steps, and supporting that and trying to get the fund allocation away from this older tech that people are holding on to could eventually get us that fully releasable tele binding, or whatever, that really light one that you're looking for, or something like that, So I think that's a really big thing there. And I still get confused by it.
Yeah. And I think with the modern tech NTN, it's cleaned up a lot of the slop in like a park shoot or a big mountain shoot. You just have more power. You have more suspension. Like, again, my brain always goes to cars. Like, you're just not maxing out your G3 Targa on like, can I hit a rail on my Targas? Yeah. But is it more likely for it to be like a smooth, clean hit on my NTN setup?
On my
NTN setup? Yeah, 100%. Right. And like, as far as like, I don't know, on a personal level, like with you and your film is a product. You're selling it. It's a tour. Our job is to sell stuff as voices in the industry and podcast hosts and directors, and like brands get on board because they want to sell things. So like, you're going to showcase what's happening now. It's not, and maybe in a segment on your next video, if you do a film next year, you get everybody and you go over to, I don't know, you go to Snowbird and you just huck your meat off on leather and lace, and like, that's fine. But you're not a Warren Miller film. You're not looking at the past. You're not looking at all like the kooky sides of the industry. You're looking at the trend in the industry and where it's going. And I think NTN is just cleaning it up. Cleaning it up meaning the sloppiness of like, you know, a little Zeech with like a bad landing. Like you can clean up that landing because your bindings are stiffer and your boots are better. And I don't think anyone in NTN cares. It's like the forum people who are just like mad that we're on NTN.
Yeah, and I think it's more attractive to an alpine skier or a snowboarder, right? If they're potentially looking at what telemark is and they're looking at the products, is looking at, you know, a used G3 Targa, which is great for, you know, something that Nikhil's doing with people learning, and it's more accessible, it is cheaper. But if they look at a G3 Targa now compared to the high quality and high end, you know, alpine bindings, AT bindings, snowboard bindings, and everything else, what do they think about Telly versus seeing, you know, a Bishop that has this true step in, step out and everything else, right? I mean, I think it says a lot about the industry as well, and potentially feels like it's more advanced for other people to consider getting into it. But I think there's another side too that isn't even about the tech, it's about the people. And I think that's really where this new school, or the term new generation, tends to be a really big trigger point for a lot of people. In that, you know, it's hard to figure out because it seems to be people are upset that this is happening and it's being referred to as being new, right? And everyone's eventually coming in saying this isn't new. But what it is, new is a relative thing, right? And I could rant on this forever, but new is relative to another point in time. The new for me right now is relative to when I first got into telemark and there weren't movies happening. The teams didn't seem to be as supported or kind of utilized, I guess. You know, there's always been teams that rode for certain companies and they'd get the hookups, but seeing kind of these families grow out of the Bishop team and the 22 team and everything else looks different than when I first got into Telly. But I know, you know, like back in Josh's days, there were so many Telly crews and there were teams and there were comps and all of this stuff. But there seems to be this obsession with making sure people realize that none of this is new, but it's, you know, it's new to me. It's new to people like Nikhil, who's just getting into this and trying to spread his own form of telemark, right? And yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one that people seem to be upset about, but we love these old films. Like, we recognize the past. You know, my last film I worked with Dickie Hall to actually use some of his movie clips in there as kind of a homage and paying respect to these telemark skiers before us, and used it as kind of a playful thing to show, you know, look at kind of the difference from the 80s world versus now, but also look at the similarities in personality. We're still skinning up grass. We're still getting yanked behind snow sleds and everything else. And I think that's what I generally see. That seems to be just this weird trigger that's happening in the forums and Instagram, and just kind of this need for, I don't know if it's recognition or what's going on. I mean, what do you think with that? I know we all have thoughts here.
Yeah, I think it's so laughable. Like, everything's been done. Everything's been done. Like, not to get like, I don't really like the guy, but like, if Elon Musk lands on the fucking moon, Lance fucking Bass or whatever his name is, Lance Armstrong isn't going to be like, Neil Armstrong isn't going to be like, oh, I already landed on the moon. Like, it's all progression. Like, and that's what it is. Like, yeah, it's been done and you paved the way. And like, you know, I saw Weston hit a rail on his hammerheads. And then to me, that had never been done. I watched that live and I didn't know you could do that. I wasn't a telemark skier. I watched it happen. And that was a never been done for me. And then, you know, and then you came in later to the game. So like, maybe you've only seen, at the time, you only saw people in the park hit things on NTNs, and that's never been done. And it's just like, it doesn't mean it's not anything bad. And like, I don't know, then like, oh, we've already done telemark films. It's like, okay, so we stop.
So we stop and it's done.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, because the skiing gets better every year. You know, no one's telling Level 1 and Matchstick and TGR that it's already been done.
Warren Miller already did it.
Doing it. You have to keep progressing the sport. And there's glory days involved, and there's glory days in every sport. And, there's people who just want to ski, alpine straight skis, and they hate parabolic skis, and they call them parabolic skis. It just seems that the community in telemark is so small in the grand scheme of things that we hear it more versus like the straight bump skiers. There's people at Killington who don't ski at all, and then they ski the last 2 months of the ski season when everyone's done, and they just ski superstar bumps on their straight skis. And I guess those are the guys, but or like watering their driveway all summer and like yelling, "Get off my lawn!" But we don't see them because Alpine doesn't have one forum to rule them all.
Right.
And telemark we do, because it's this small community. And I don't know if they're looking for recognition. I don't know. Great job, guys. You did it. But like, we should stop. We should stop progression. We should stop creating art. Whether we're calling the skiing that we do art or the films we're making art. I think it needs to keep getting pushed. No one was, Cody Townsend went for the 50. No one was mad at him because someone already wrote a book about it. They were like, oh, I want to see how Cody does it. Right. And now someone else is going to do it. Noah Dines just skied over 3 million vertical human-powered feet. Aaron Rice isn't mad that he broke his record. He's interested how he broke his record and what he did differently. It's been done, but no one's ever done 3 million. So now the next Noah Dines is going to get more than that. And that's just going to that's how humans thrive.
And there's something actually really funny with that, because what I see too is kind of a comment on those tricks have already been done, or bigger mountains have been hit. People have already done the flips before. And to me, I mean, it's pretty laughable because we all know this. I mean, right here on the screen, if you're watching the pod on YouTube, we've got a clip here of from JT Robinson's film where he's talking about kind of his earlier days skiing. And I mean, these lines are huge and he's absolutely ripping and would hold up with any of the movies that are being made now. If not, it's gnarlier terrain, right?
Right.
But then there's this criticism that comes around about people have already been that good. The people you're showing or that I'm seeing on Instagram or the people that are gaining traction aren't better than the people then. And I think that's more of a commentary on what's happened with telemark, with the culture, than anything that's an active athlete or making a movie or Instagram account or something now, because that means that something stopped the progression, right? If people right now aren't as quote unquote good as they were before, why did that progression stop? And I think it's because in telemark, we get these blips where we have this high point, right? And everyone's stoked. Everyone's getting the gear. Movies are happening again. And then it stops. So all of a sudden that high point goes down, it sits flat, and then another project's going to start. But if you look at that in a longer timeline, you're looking at a flat moving average. You're looking at flat progression. Nothing's really going anywhere. But what we need is for those flat spots to stop happening. Like while we're doing this or somebody else is doing their project, somebody else needs to be making movies or making pods or making videos or entering IFSA comps or something like that. And now we're starting to get that upward moving average. So it's tough because I feel like the people that are critical of what they're seeing now and relating it to whether it was them personally that were doing it before or what they've seen in the past when they were in their heyday of telemark, they're honestly kind of being critical of the culture that has risen out of telemark and the ups and downs that came from, whatever they may have been a part of at the time, and it's really funky to me to be critical of that when, we're we're trying to get this thing going and get people ripping more. It's even these past years, like I see more rippers coming out, old and young, new tricks happening. There are actually new tricks happening in this world, especially in the park, believe it or not. But yeah, I mean, I think that's just a big commentary on really what's happened with telemark through its years and not a commentary on any of these individual athletes because they're killing it right now. And I think it's insane to be critical of someone that's putting so much blood, sweat, and tears into the industry, or, they're putting their body on the line by hitting some new lines. And, this is telemark right now. It's so small, like potentially what are you really going to get out of it versus doing alpine or snowboarding, right? So it's truly coming from passion. Why are we going to be critical of them trying to progress more, even if they're having to start from the bare bottom once again?
Yeah, I love that take, and it's obviously like you get the DMs, you're on the personal end of it. Um, I don't know, use some fancy term with like the flat average or something. That sounds no, but it makes sense to me, and maybe people listening, and if we can get the forum gurus to maybe listen to this, maybe they'll understand it. Like we're not trying to replace you. We're just trying to create something so that it can continue to grow. And then if it grows, we get progression, we get innovation. More if we're talking like more careers happen out of it, which is like, okay, whatever. But like, there's how many reps in North America for ski brands. And like,
Right.
imagine if some of those reps picked up some telemark companies and like could make more money doing it because it's an actual thing that we could do. Like, what a concept. But I think what you have always done that I always and loved is not everyone's welcome in the film. Like, obviously you have to be entertaining and you have to like have some like reason to be in the film, but it's not necessarily all bangers. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, in like
Oh
a
no.
refreshing way. Like your new film, spoiler alert, like our friend Colin is in it and there's a whole ski board segment and like he's doing some cool lines and like it's just fun and it's refreshing and it's him and his buddy riding their bikes and going to different lines. And like I think that's what's really neat about telemark is like people watching or listening right now at this moment. Next year you could be in CJ's film, and that's fresh, that's exciting. Like you don't just have to be some kid on the East Coast watching a Warren Miller film and being like, well, I don't live in Squamish, so like I probably won't make it into that film. And I think that's something that's very wholesome and like ideally ends in 10 years because it's gotten so popular that like only the strong survive, right? But like
Right.
it is this like maybe we don't call it new school, maybe we call it the revival, right? Like we had the first wave of ska and then second wave ska and then third wave ska. It's
Right.
like telemark is the ska of
But
sport,
ska's really never gotten any better, right? And it's because of
right?
that.
But like it got its peak. Like the Boss Tones were like in movies and Real Big Fish was in basketball. And you were like, oh shit, that song slaps, like horns and great. And then it was gone. And now there's a fourth wave revival and it sounds the exact same, but they're like getting there. And like, I don't know, this is a ramble, but ideally, this sounds shitty, but not everyone's welcome in a ski film. But telemark as a sport, everyone's welcome right now because it's so fresh. It's being innovated again. And sure, it's all been done, but everything's been done.
Sure.
That's why it's cool. That's why it's neat because we see how, hopefully, soon we see how JT skis the line and then we see how someone else skis that line. Or like maybe we get JT out there again and he goes and revisits some of his old lines and then it like fades in and out and just you ski it differently because the gear is different.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it's at a really interesting point. I think it's at a tipping point. I don't understand the divide. I don't know. I think it's just maybe, and this is me speaking out of line, maybe, but people hate seeing other people's success. And, you've put the work in, you have a film, and, you're not making money off this film. You lose your ass. You drive around the country. You're not home, hang out with your girlfriend. Like you bought a van so you could do this comfortably. Like it's not all cool. Like it's great. And like that high is really cool when you're in a building and people are hyped. But like, you're not flying around in helicopters filming skiing.
No.
You're sacrificing some things, possibly another career to do this. So I think that's important. And there were people that did it before and they fell off because it wasn't sustainable. So how do we continue to promote, continue to grow the community, involve everyone, and make it sustainable for a CJ to do this long term?
Yeah, and keep it moving, right? Because that's where we're going to see the progression. I feel like there's pretty strong parallel to that with even the gear that we have, where someone looks at a new binding from 22 or a new binding from Bishop or something, and they say, oh, it's not light enough and it's not releasable enough yet. I'll wait. But that waiting just ends up being money not going into them to do the research and development, and we're not going to get that product. You can't wait for, we're not going to all of a sudden start back up with people doing triples on Telly, although it seems like Will Housecamp's going to be pretty
Yeah.
close to it. You know, like we have to go through these steps, and unfortunately, you know, some people start on lower steps than others. And I think with what's happened with telemark in the industry and culturally through retail and everything else, for people starting projects, they're starting on these lower steps, which means it takes a little bit of time to even get to potentially where it was in the past in terms of, I guess, progression or what have you. It's a tough thing. You know, we're such a small community. It's a bummer to see so many, I guess, whatever type, however you want to describe these opinions. You know, it's tough to see division in such a small community amongst people that just do it because they truly love the turn. They're putting their mind, body, and soul into it and probably not getting a lot out of it, you know. And I'm not speaking just for myself, but for athletes, companies, anything, you know, like you really got to love it to stick in it, because you're not getting into it because you're making $1 million a year, right? That's going into your pocket.
Yeah. And I don't know. I hope, you know, and maybe it's me too, maybe it's us, but like I like to think it's them. And I'll admit that, but like just evolve a little bit. I'm not saying evolve your gear, but just see it and don't, everyone's just trying. Like it's so funny, like the things, and we always go back to the forum, but like the things that hit on the forum are just like things of the past. And it's a testament to why telemark is where it is. But that new school is there. The revival is here, and it's palpable. And I said that to you before. And I think, you know, I'm interested to see where it goes. And I think the progression is just going to keep growing. And I hope that maybe we don't call them old school, but maybe the 75 mil curmudgeons are just like, oh, this is sick. Like, this is cool. Like, I don't know. And again, I always compare it to cars, and like all my cars are 20 years old. Like I'm the 75 mil curmudgeon, right? But I'm not like mad at the new cars.
No, and it's all in good fun too, right? I mean, there's Eric Bell. Shout out to Eric Bell, who's a hardcore 75 mil skier that is usually riding over Arapahoe Basin, a couple areas in Colorado, and he will post these stickers that say 75 mil for life. I love putting TC stickers over that, and I'm sure he knows I'm the one doing that, but it's all fun, you know. I got to see him at the Denver premiere. We give each other shit, and then we give each other a hug because we both are in this for the same reason. We love this sport. You know, it's all about a feeling and everything. And when you have feelings involved, you're going to have opinions involved, right? And that's definitely, there's no lack of that in telemark, but it's all in good fun. Like, do whatever. We obviously, in terms of the industry, there's a benefit that comes out of us moving to NTN and not holding on to 75. But I mean, I guess that's to say there are a lot of people that understand the fun in all of this and understand the fun in like talking shit about 75 or something like that, you know, like that's
Yeah. And I love the fun, but I think there are some people on both sides that like are taking it, and it's like, guys, we're all in this together. Like, this is stupid. We're sliding down snow, arguably one of the worst ways to do it. Like, and that's not even a bit. Like, that's just like, you know, my
it's not the easier way to go.
No, but it's like arguably the worst. Like I'll play a voicemail right now. It's a short one, but like it's you know, Brad hit it best. It's just like, let me see if I can load this up here. Like 7 seconds. So
if you're going to telemark, you might as well just snowboard. Telemark is stupid.
But like, he's a friend of mine, and I called him. And he's like, dude, if you're gonna pick, like, alpine is the best way to get down. Like, as far as like a tool for the job, it's the most efficient. It's 2 edges. Your heels are locked. Great. Like, his thing is like, if you're gonna pick a bad way to go down, you might like, it's just, and like, he's not wrong. If your powder snowboarding is the ticket, like that's it. And telemark is a really goofy way to get down, and then you can add like the backcountry element and all that, but everything's evolved. So choosing the worst way to do it means something to people, and I just think the community is too small to like battle, and it's all jokes, and it's all supposed to be fun, and maybe that's what they don't like, is they don't like that, someone like me makes a joke out of it. And it's like, well, I do make a joke out of it because it's skiing. It's a joke. Like, people are at war, people are dying, and like, we're fighting over fucking what bindings we're using. Who cares? Like, this
Right.
is stupid. We're just sliding. This is the most privileged thing we can do in the world, is like slide down snow. So I think the second we lose that, like, get fucked. I don't know. I shouldn't swear because this is on YouTube now, but whatever. It's just like, I don't know. I just can't. And I have I'm going to play a couple voicemails here because I don't want to go too long, but I think our buddy Greg kind of hits on this. I haven't listened to it in a while, so maybe I could be completely wrong, but it's a little longer. So buckle up, buddy.
Hey, Adam, it's me, Greg, your dearest friend and long lost companion, calling with some hot, well, I thought they were hot ideas for the show, but after I finished your latest show with CJ, sounds like you guys are already going to talk about it. But I have a lot of thoughts on park telemark skiing naturally, since that's what I do sometimes. And just how that is perceived by alpine skiers, and like thoughts on, telemark park skiers kind of chasing alpine norms versus doing more telemark related things and different directions related to that. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like you guys already had that planned. I thought it was a good idea until I heard that, but would love to chat about that. Another idea, but I forgot. Also just relating to I feel like the telemark industry, I guess media industry, is kind of in a cool spot right now where, like, I know I'm an athlete, which seems like a strong term considering that I am, but it's just like a very open sport for people to, like, they can see a TC movie and be like, oh, I can do that. And they could totally, go out, get some high quality video and do that. Unlike alpine movies where, like, I can't go Mach 80 down a 40-foot cliff and then triple McTwist at the bottom out of the quarter pipe. I think there's something cool about that, and it leaves the door open for a lot of people to get, more media, high quality media into telemark without necessarily being the best, most craziest skier ever. That was it. Those are my thoughts. Or if we just want to talk like why cats are sick, I'm very down for that. But yeah, anyways, goodbye. I love you.
I mean,
I think what you can take out of that, though, is that his cats are super duper sick. Shout out to all four of them.
I'm sure. No, I think he makes a couple interesting points, and I think we kind of hit on it. But like, as far as the park thing goes, I'm super pumped because I always thought telemark was an excuse to be bad, and I think we're starting to. The tricks are getting cleaned up. Yeah, they're not just like sloppy zeeches. And then the accessibility part, I just think is so cool that like it's so young again.
Yeah. And there's younger people coming into it, which again, that isn't a requirement, but that is what we're seeing, right? Is younger athletes popping on teams, getting bigger tricks, progressing. Like a lot of people say it's not happening. There's a lot of young kids out here now that are progressing. The first thought I did actually have when he talks about the view of telemark park skiing is that, to me, I kind of feel like alpiners like telemark park skiing more than some of the older heads in telemark like telemark park skiing, which is a really weird thing because I think alpiners look at it and, one, they don't really truly understand how telemark works, so it looks like about the most challenging possible thing you could do to jump off a lip without the ski just falling off your feet. But they like seeing the weirdness. It's something new to them, whether or not that trick is new to someone that knows, every single trick that's been landed in Telly before. It's new to them. They're psyched. They're stoked to see the homies out doing that. That's awesome. Versus, I'll hear if there's alpine turns while linking a park line, or you're just doing like some 2 or 4s off without any knees being dropped or whatever. There's a criticalness to that for some reason from a lot of people. But to me, it's like, we're all just skiers that are on these planks. We've chosen this particular binding setup, but just because we're on that doesn't mean we have to ride park a certain way, or ride groomers a certain way, or ride bumps a certain way. The people that are riding park now, and like that are in these movies and posting these tricks online and everything, these are just people that happen to be telemark skiers, and they also want to ride in the park. Who gives a fuck what? Oh, I guess we're all cussing now. Sorry.
Yeah, that's happening.
But I mean, truly though, I mean, who cares how you're doing it, what turn you do? I think there's a benefit to landing switch with the, kind of the telly turn, because it gives you that stability that you lose by not having the heel locked in. But like, you don't have to land in a telly turn going straight every time just to show people you're a tellier. I mean, although it does give you some additional points, and then people can definitely know you're a telemark skier. But
Yeah, it's a little clout.
yeah, the criticalness on this is always so funky, and Greg definitely gets to be in the crosshairs for that a lot of the time.
Yeah, I do agree. I think it's the telemark skiers that are its worst critics. I think when I was, fluent in telemark park, which I'm coming back this year, I could like tap the rail and ski away telemark, and someone would say something.
Yeah.
So I think, it's just another way to cut the cake. Like, I think it's cool. I don't think anything matters in how you do it and why you do it. Like, it's the whole, like, does every turn need to be a telemark turn? And the answer is no. Like, it doesn't make sense for every telemark turn or every turn to be a telemark turn. It's just another way to do it. Like sometimes when you're alpining, like, pizza is the right move. Like, if you're like doing even like on big mountain stuff, like you're doing like something sketchy that's not wide enough to turn your skis, like you do a little pizza and then you get your little hop turn in. Like, not every turn is an alpine turn, and not every telemark turn or telemark movement needs to be a telemark turn per se.
Yeah. I mean, having the telemark setup and being a telemark skier means you have that turn in your tool bag, right?
Yeah.
But the parallel turn is a turn also in your tool bag for certain situations or desires or whatever.
Yeah, and sometimes snow's terrible that, like, if you make a telemark turn, you get eaten alive. Like, you just gotta, like, there are days that, like, I've skied like garbage powder days, right? And we'd ski all day, and I got down and I was like, I didn't make one telemark turn today. I lean back, because if I made a turn, I just got augured. Like, it's sometimes it just, you're putting more pressure on that tip. Like, it dives. It's just a different, and here we don't necessarily have the steepness to match it. So I don't know. I do like Greg's take. I think people are just more hyped on telemark park, and they're again, it goes back to like never been done. Not that it's never been done, but it's never been seen by a lot of these people, because there was a drought, right? Like, if you didn't see water for 20 years, the old generation can talk about the water, but like, if you've never seen it with your own eyes, like, or on a big screen, how are you? I don't know.
Also, after a drought, people are pretty stoked to have water back. So,
well, I'm just saying, if you've never seen it and you've only heard about it, like, I don't know. Dude, I hate to swerve here, but it's time. I don't know what I'm going to play here, but
all right,
this is it. This is our lead into it. It's 60 seconds with Telly Craw. It's our flagship piece here, flagship segment for the show, I think. And I'm going to play his voicemail. He left a couple. I don't think anything will ever beat the Killdozer. He texted me after that and was like, dude, what was that? And I said, I have no idea, dude. You sent that to me. Like, so
These voicemails stay for a long time.
that voicemail that he sent me was from April, to be fair. So I pulled it out of the archive and I knew I would have a moment to play it at some point. So yeah, let's see what he has to say.
Right,
And
60 seconds with Telecraw.
yeah, here we go.
Yo, this is Telly Club with a quick update for y'all. I hope you gentlemen are doing just great there in the lab. I've got a thought. Corporate skiing that is ruining America is simultaneously driving people by the hundreds, if not thousands, to telemark. Okay, picture this. You're a weekend skier. You live in Denver. But maybe in college you were like a proper ski bum. But now you're in Denver, 9-to-5 job. You can only ski Saturday and Sunday. It
Oh no.
Did we lose them?
Nah, I blew it. That was
is
me.
awful. You know that you're going to hate life getting to any resort on any pass, regardless on the I-70 corridor. But you've got a friend or maybe a new partner or something who's really excited about getting into skiing, something that you love. So if you've got like 10 hours of traffic to deal with in your entire day, and you're probably just going to be sticking on some chill slopes and or standing in lift lines for hours on end, why not try something new yourself? You're an accomplished skier, or you think you are at least. Come get a little humbled, and you can't take it all seriously anyway because it's just corporate greed at its finest. So like, oh, it's so awful. But at the same time, nobody's enjoying skiing as much as they used to because basically weekend skiing has just been ruined for the masses. So at this point, why not try to make it as fun as possible? Thus, telemark skiing. Anyway, you know how to get my number. Telecraw. Peace out, y'all. Red Telemark. Love this shit. Keep dropping these. Not bomb.
Thoughts.
Hell yeah. I love that double press video where he just falls straight to his stomach on that thing. I can't get enough of that video.
Like, what a peach.
Two, he's coming up with a good point, actually, but I do think that kind of goes back to, a lot of people's origin story of getting into telemark from either, they moved and they're at a smaller hill, so they wanted to engage with it differently versus if they're alpining, they're just going to rail it and then they wait in the line again, or people that are starting to get bored with alpine or snowboarding or something like that. But I've never truly thought about it from that corporate angle, because you could see, well, maybe I'm not driving up to Vail or something like that, because that risks either me being stuck on the pass or driving 10 hours to get there or something like that. I may go to Eldora, which is notably smaller, but still hella fun. And if you're on tele gear, it can totally change what that mountain looks like to you compared to being on a snowboard or an alpine ski setup or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say I agree with Telecraw. I don't know if there's a direct correlation, but I think if you're going to spend all that time, and like sometimes skiing can be boring, right? Like if you're comfortable and you're good at it and you're just like doing the same thing, learning something opens it up. And our people, I mean, that's partly why I started. Is I was like, I ski a 600-700 foot of vertical resort, and I was like, oh, I'm bored's the wrong term because I haven't mastered it, but I've pushed my alpine skiing as far as I'm going to push it in like my skill set. Like, okay, I could always learn more, but then I get hurt and whatever. So I started alpine or telemark skiing, and it opened up the whole resort again. And I remember just tomahawking off things, and like that was really fun to me. And I guess if I had a long lift line and I could get down the hill in a minute, or it took me 5 minutes on a telemark ski, that might be something that I value because I want to spend more time on the mountain.
Right. There is, though, the opposite of that, where if you are stuck on the weekend warrior scenario, you're driving 6 hours to get to the mountain to wait an hour-long lift line. Do you want your ride down to be something that you're not good at, or is more difficult, or is humbling, or makes you look like an idiot or something like that, versus something because that's more kind of cherished, pristine time that you've had to earn by going through all the traffic nonsense, through all the skier growth and mountain growth and everything. So do you want to spend it doing something that's really hard?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to it. I like the take.
I like that Crawford's finding new ways to kind of shit on corporate skiing and really show that as a positivity for telemark.
Yeah, he's finding he dug deep for this one, but I'm very proud of him. And I will say some of the other ones would have just been like beep, 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 on here, beep, 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 bing, beep, craw, beep, beep. And it was like, okay. I don't think we can air that, dude. Like
I think we got to make like a Patreon and we can just release all of the drunken Telecraw voicemails as a special member benefit or something.
Oh, what a delight that would be. For 1 cup of coffee a month, you can have Telecraw's secret access to all of his thoughts. And but we're speaking of this commercialism. I thought you had something brought up here with the wrong knee and all the photos.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you think that is? Do you still have that available?
Yeah, let me see. This is, I've never shared my screen before on this. This is where
Oh, yeah, it's scary.
technological breakdowns come in.
Hide your corn.
Oh, God. Chrome tab.
Look at us. Look at us, guys.
You know, I should have prepared for this and just didn't. Okay,
you guys are all driving in your Teslas. Wait, can you watch a screen on your Tesla?
All right, can you see this?
Yeah, Rise of Telly, dude.
Okay, killer. So I have never figured this out, but I'm of the opinion that everyone that draws telemark seers for logos always show them dropping the wrong knee. So we've got, and we love Rise of Telly. Shout out to Serge. But look at this guy here. He's got his Yeti. And to me, it seems like he's about to go for a right-hand turn because he's got his right pole out, potentially for that plant. But it looks like he's already turning right so that his downhill foot is the one actually flexing it. Right? Like,
yeah. You
okay,
need more.
Here's another one. Here's another one. Can you see this? Did the screen change?
No.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
You have to. Yes, present. Aha.
Okay. Let's. Here's another one. Again, it would look like this is the downhill foot, right? And this would be uphill based on this orientation. So this is actually a mirror of the situation with Rise of Telly's graphic. So it shows it's consistent across both turns. And again, we've got the right foot dropping when it looks like he's taking a left-hand turn. I don't understand it, and it just keeps happening. And I don't know if maybe I don't understand telemark correctly with this, but I don't know. I'm going to keep looking at more images here. Tell me your thoughts on this, or if you've even noticed this before.
I think you have too much time on your hands. I think you are just, I got a good one here. Let me share my screen here.
Oh, whoa, wait. So this is cool. So we've got this old ancient Norway one from Teletalk. That's correct right there. We've got the pinheads from Hell one. That's historic. Also correct. But then we have this where I just think it's the wrong knee. I don't need much time on my hands to look at
artists don't know. Like,
okay, look at this moose. This moose is tellying wrong too. But the artists usually come from telliers, and the telliers got to fact check this, right?
Yeah, but we don't care. Sorry, I bullied you. What do you think about this hot dog? Like, his upper body is turning left, but his lower body is turning right.
Are we looking at the front of the hot dog, or is that the back end of the hot dog?
That's I would say that's the front.
Okay. I'm physically having a hard time even digesting the body language on that hot dog. I want to say maybe he's just finishing a right-hand turn, but he's right in that exchange of you're still in your right hand, but you're pulling your left hand out. I'm gonna give that hot dog a pass. I think the hot dog clears.
You're defending the dog.
Yeah, I'm defending the dog. I think the hot dog fully. I think we've got a bad photo of the hot dog, but I think the hot dog's making a proper telly turn.
All right.
Yeah, and look at these. We've got real photos here, and you don't see anyone dropping.
Maybe it's just hard to draw the knee in 3D.
I don't know. I did it with a skeleton, and I'm a horrible drawer. So I don't know. I'm just saying that we need a big, extensive review over this because this is confusing for everybody involved. Go ahead and give us a call at 716 599-0917. Shoot us some examples of what you think is a correct teleturn graphic, or tell us what you think, because this has bothered me ever since I started to do merch, and I just think now I've got the platform. So,
Yeah. I understand. I mean, yeah, I've never noticed it, but I don't know. I don't know. Like, does it? I guess it bothers you, so it matters. But
I just think we need to review this just a little bit and not just keep assuming it's okay. Maybe it's just something that was done in the past and we just kind of let it fly and now it's a standard. But it's a new age, it's a
no
new
one
time,
called
it's
them
a
out
new
yet.
year. Let's
Every time I Google, I don't know if Google's just on to me. Like, you know how like if you Google something and I Google something, we get different results. But like this is what I get when I Google telemark every time. Like it's just this is my algorithm and it's dialed.
a proper drawing of telemark.
Yeah. No, I don't know. It is funny you say it, and it's like, I don't know, does it matter? Are we like filling air now? But it is funny that you've noticed it, and I don't know why. Who knows? I assume it's just like an artist. Like every time we had to have a flyer made for our tele stock, we'd like try to describe the telemark turn to the artist, and they were like, and you'd like send them pictures, and they would just draw a cross country skier,
right,
with their knee bent, but like make the skis fatter,
Yeah.
So I think it's just maybe it's just graphic. Maybe it just presents better that way.
I don't know. I'm not the pinhead. Case in point, the pinheads from Hell drawing isn't that way, and that is one of the most epic telemark illustrations I think that exists. So I will die on this one, but would love to hear what people think on this one, because I don't know.
Pinheads from Hell?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that, dude? Mine's just Hellraiser.
Yeah, if you Google it, pulls up a lot of telemark talk articles.
I Googled it, dude. I don't see any.
Dude.
Are you presenting? Let's see this thing. See, I don't care about the past, dude. I'm all looking forward.
Oh, there, we're sharing it again.
Pinheads from Hell. Yeah, Hellraiser, dude. Hellraiser. See, high hands, dude. High hands are a thing of leather. High hands are all leather, dude.
That is all leather, but that's a hell of a sick. Oh, here we go. We've got even more on here. Uphill is down. Uphill is down. This one's like in the middle of a turn. These two people are freaking out. We don't need to go on this for too long, but I just wanted to get that. I wanted to get that out on the air. Yeah,
we lose our listeners. God, I'm so not versed in the history of telemark, and I don't care. And I'm sorry for anyone who does care. I just, to be fair, I don't know the history of anything. I just go forward.
Yeah.
Just like keep
getting
cruising.
Stoked now and looking forward.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I've got that one I can save because we don't need to go too long here. But I got a good one. I don't.
All right.
It's not good, but we'll play it because we love him.
All right, let's hear it.
What's up, Adam X and CJ Visplaya, the Cosonator, the Colorado Crumbler? Just calling to tell you a telemark joke. Why did the telemark skier break up with their skis? Because they just couldn't commit. Guess they'll heal the pain eventually. Heal is spelled H-E-L. Are your parents proud of you yet? Anyways, have a great day. Talk to you next month.
I don't know.
What is that?
This is what goes to my phone like weekly. You coward.
Like an AI voice?
It's an AI voice, but they don't know that the caller ID tells me who you are, dude. It's Google. You know who this is. But all your phone calls are anonymous if you like them to be. So I will not call you out. But I don't know. I feel like we covered a lot here. I don't want to go too long because we're at an hour 43 here. But I want to close on this.
Yeah.
And I have opinions. And if you have something you want to close on, we can also continue.
Let's do it.
The Rockefeller Freedom binding is the worst fucking binding I've ever skied in my entire life. And it's like talk about innovation. Like they like created an entire new category, a new sport, a new way to do the sport. The companies had to make new boots in order to work with these. And then it's just like they just never revised it. Like that's my 2 cents on that whole thing. Like, you know, the just Rockefeller bindings in general, like why even bother? What was the first one? The free ride? What's that orange death trap?
Honestly, can't remember between, was it the freedom and the free ride? This was before my time, which I haven't educated myself on.
Yeah.
But I do agree. These are by far some of the worst binding or least pleasant bindings to ski. Weirdly enough, though, I've always seen the telemark racers using free rides or using the Rockefeller binding setups for a while, and I don't know why that was. It just seems like there's so many better
stiff.
bindings out
I mean,
there.
they're rigid as heck, and they put up a ton of power, and it's all edge power. Like it goes directly to your edge. But my I don't know, my question to anyone listening is like, imagine being Rockefeller, inventing a new way to do a sport, and then kind of falling off. Like they still make the binding, and maybe they just do really well in Europe with the race.
Right.
But like seeing the innovation of Bishop and 22 Designs, and even like a Meijo we could throw into the equation. Like, do you think we'll ever see, in your opinion, a binding from Rockefeller again? Like they literally changed the sport, the way people do it.
Right. But that's progression right there. Is you had someone go in with their idea of what the new tech could be in telemark. It sat there. 22 Designs looked at it. I believe there was a patent issue with them being able to use the duck butt and everything. So there was kind of this hard time that they couldn't move forward with it. But then 22 Designs took that concept and made it into a better binding that people love now. And now we have an inbounds resort binding with retractable brakes and all of this stuff. That's all to say, the first iteration of that was so bad. I mean, anytime I've ridden a Rockefeller before, which is a singular run, and as much as I be critical of people for saying like, you know, give it some time, you're going to get used to it. It was like being a mouse caught in a trap that you couldn't get out of. And thankfully I was able to get out of them and get back into my bindings, because I don't know, to each their own, but I feel like that one's just wrong. Go to a Targa, damn.
Yeah, no, don't do this. No, I just more blown away by like they literally invented it, and then we're just like, man, we're good.
Set it out there and let it free.
Wild, absolutely wild. I don't know, dude. I feel good. I feel like we've chatted, we've covered some things. We hit the elephant in the room. We will have updates in a month on what's going on there.
Yep.
Again, just be nice to each other, guys. This community is tiny. Let's all maybe support each other and not knock each other down so much. You got anything to say there, CJ?
Tell us your news. Give us a call. Leave us a voicemail. We love you all, obviously. Like we're down for the whole community here, and we're just supporting it more and more. But we'd love to hear what you're doing. What do you think is telemark news right now? Because we live in our bubble, and I'm sure you live in yours. Let's hear it. I've got to drive to Bend now.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. We can just chat in circles for 2 hours every month, or we can get more feedback from you guys, the listeners, and, you know, continue to make a product that you guys want to hear and know about. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. There's only one way to end this show, and it's pretty easy. You guys all know how it happens.
The Pretty Good Telemark Show. Laughs and stories steal the show. Join the ride, let's have some fun. Skiing adventures for everyone. The
Thanks for
Pretty
listening.
Good Telemark Show. Laughs and stories steal the show.